The door to the courtroom felt heavier than it should have. In my only good suit, the one I'd bought for job interviews 3 years earlier, I pushed it open. My parents were seated in the front row, my brother beside them, all three wearing designer clothes I could never afford. Mom noticed me first. She leaned toward Dad and whispered something. He rolled his eyes. Actually rolled his eyes, as though I were an inconvenience, as though showing up to defend myself was a waste of their time. Their lawyer shuffled papers with a confidence that comes from a $500 an hour retainer. The judge hadn't entered yet. Did they truly believe I'd just hand it over? That I'd walk in, apologize, and sign away everything Grandpa left me? I placed my briefcase on the defendant's table. Inside were 3 folders, tabs color-coded. They had no idea what was in them. Before we go further, drop a comment. Where are you watching from and what time is it there? Hit like if you've ever been underestimated by your own family, and subscribe because this story gets wild. The bailiff stood. All rise. The judge walked in and I was ready. To understand how we got here, you need to know how it started. I was never the favorite. My brother was the golden child. A new car for his 16th birthday. College paid in full. A down payment on his first condo. Whatever he wanted, Mom and Dad wrote the check. Me? I worked nights at a grocery store to pay for community college. Transferred to a state school on loans. Lived in a basement apartment with 3 roommates and mice in the walls. I wasn't bitter. I just learned early that I was on my own. But Grandpa saw me. He was the one who showed up to my associate's degree ceremony when no one else did. He was the one who took me to lunch every other Sunday and asked about my classes. You're the one who will make something of yourself, he told me once. Your brother's got charm. You've got grit. Grit lasts longer. He was also the one who taught me to keep records. Save everything, he'd say. Every letter, every receipt, every email. You never know when you'll need proof. I thought he was just old-fashioned. I didn't realize he was preparing me. When Grandpa passed, the lawyer read the will. My brother got the house. Mom and Dad got the investment accounts. I got the education fund. It didn't sound like much until the lawyer explained Grandpa had seeded it 20 years earlier, and it had been compounding ever since. My share was worth more than the house and investments combined. $1.2 million. Mom's face went white. That's when everything changed. 2 weeks later, Mom called. We need to talk as a family. Come to the house Saturday. I should have known. When I walked in, they were all waiting. Mom, Dad, my brother, and a man in a gray suit I'd never seen before. This is Richard, Mom said. Our attorney. I sat down. The air felt wrong. Richard slid a document across the table. We've drafted a family harmony agreement for everyone's benefit. I scanned the first page. It stated I would transfer my share of the trust into a family management account. They would oversee it, invest responsibly, and give me a monthly allowance $2,000 a month from my own money. You've never been good with money, sweetheart, Mom said, her voice like syrup. We're trying to protect you. Protect me. You're young, impulsive. This kind of sum could ruin your life if you're not careful. My brother leaned forward. Don't be selfish. This is about keeping Grandpa's legacy intact as a family. I looked at the paper again, then at Richard. And if I say no? Dad's face hardened. The warmth vanished. Then we'll do this the hard way. Richard cleared his throat. We can file a petition with the probate court. A conservatorship if necessary. It would be unfortunate, expensive, embarrassing for you. He let that word hang. Embarrassing. You have 72 hours to decide, Richard said. I stood up, picked up the unsigned agreement. I've decided. I walked out. I had 72 hours before they'd file. I didn't waste a second. 72 hours later, a process server knocked on my apartment door. I signed for the envelope. My hands shook. Inside was a petition. 14 pages. They were asking the court to declare me financially incompetent, to appoint my mother as conservator of my assets for my own protection. The allegations were brutal. Reckless spending, poor judgment, inability to manage complex financial matters. All lies. But they were notarized. Filed officially. The court date was set. 3 weeks. My phone rang that afternoon. My boss. Can you come in? We need to talk. I sat in her office as she slid a printout across the desk. A public record search with my name, the petition. Is there something going on we should know about? It's a family dispute. It's not true. She looked uncomfortable. We're going to need to put you on temporary administrative leave. Until this is resolved. It's policy. I walked out in a fog. My best friend called that night. She'd heard. Just give them half, she said. It's not worth the fight. You'll still have $600,000. That's more than most people ever see. I thought about it. Maybe she was right. Maybe I should just let them win. But then I opened the binder. Grandpa's binder. The one he'd given me 5 years ago. I turned to page 12, and my hand started shaking again for a completely different reason. Page 12, section 7, subsection D. I read it 3 times to be sure I wasn't imagining it. Any beneficiary who initiates or participates in legal action to deprive another beneficiary of their designated share shall immediately forfeit their entire interest in this trust. A forfeiture clause. And in the margin, Grandpa's handwriting. Blue ink, neat block letters. Keep this safe, kiddo. Trust but verify. He knew. Somehow he knew this might happen. I called Jake. He'd been in my study group in undergrad. Just passed the bar 3 months prior. Jake, I need you to look at something. Now. He came over. Read the clause. Read it again. This is enforceable, he said. If they're suing you to take your share, and this clause is valid, they forfeit everything. The house, the investments, all of it. Are you sure? I'm sure. This is nuclear. I drafted a letter that night. Certified mail, copies to my parents, my brother, and Richard. It included 1-page, section 7, subsection D, highlighted, and a note. You have 48 hours to withdraw your petition. If you proceed, the forfeiture clause will be enforced. You will lose everything Grandpa left you. I sent it at 6 in the morning. The deadline passed. They didn't withdraw. They doubled down. Richard filed an amended petition. This one was worse. Now they claimed undue influence. That Grandpa wasn't mentally sound when he set up the trust. That I had manipulated him. They attached an affidavit from a doctor who'd seen Grandpa once, for years before he died, for a routine checkup. The affidavit claimed Grandpa had shown signs of confusion. It was a lie, but it was notarized. Then my brother posted on Instagram a photo of Grandpa smiling from a family Christmas 10 years ago. The caption read, "Protecting his true wishes from those who would twist them. Family is forever." The comments poured in from people I'd gone to high school with, cousins, friends of friends. She always seemed off. Money changes people. Praying for your family. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. 2 days later, HR called again. We're extending your leave pending resolution of the court case. For how long? Indefinitely. The court date was 1 week away. I couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat. Every time I opened social media, there was another post, another comment. I sat at my kitchen table at 2 in the morning staring at the binder. If they wanted to play dirty, I had something they didn't know about. Something that would end this. I opened the binder to the trust amendment they'd submitted to the court and compared it to my original. The dates didn't match. Neither did the notary seals. I laid both documents side by side. The amendment my parents had submitted claimed Grandpa wanted all assets consolidated for family harmony and unified management. Dated March 2019. My original trust, signed and notarized, had no such amendment. But it was the seals that caught my eye. Different notaries, different embossers. I found the original notary's name in Grandpa's records and called him. He was retired, living in Arizona. I keep copies of everything I ever notarized, he told me. Send me the document number. I did. He called back an hour later. I never notarized that. That's not my seal. Someone forged it. He sent an affidavit that afternoon. Then I paid $300 for a forensic document examiner. The report came back in 4 days. The signature on the amendment was digitally traced. The paper stock was manufactured in 2022, 3 years after the alleged signing date. It was a forgery. My family hadn't just tried to steal from me. They'd committed fraud. Sitting in my apartment holding the report, I understood for the first time. This was never about family harmony. It was desperation. And I needed to know why. I started digging. Public records are more accessible than most people think. My brother's startup, the one mom and dad had been so proud of. I searched the business registry. Dissolved 6 months ago. I found a lawsuit. Unpaid vendors. A default judgment for $340,000. Then I searched my parents' address. Foreclosure notice, public record. $485,000 owed. 90 days to pay or the bank takes the house. I pulled Dad's investment account. He'd mentioned it once years ago at a family dinner. Publicly traded enough that I could track it. Liquidated. Margin call wiped out. I checked Mom's LinkedIn recent activity. She'd been liking posts about debt consolidation, retirement planning for people over 60. The math was simple. My brother's business failure. $340,000. The foreclosure. $485,000. Their combined trust shares. $670,000. My share. $1.2 million. They weren't evil. They were drowning. And they thought pulling me under would save them. I closed my laptop. I knew exactly what I had to do, and it wasn't what they expected. I didn't just want to defend myself. I wanted to end this cleanly, permanently. I drafted a counterpetition. Breach of fiduciary duty, fraud, enforcement of the forfeiture clause under Section 7, subsection D. Then I filed a motion to freeze all trust disbursements pending the hearing. I worked through the night, checked every citation, every exhibit, every word. At 11:43, I submitted it electronically. The confirmation email arrived. Attorney of record. My name followed by 3 letters. Esquire. I'd passed the bar 6 months earlier. Night program part-time. It had taken me 4 years. I hadn't told anyone. Not my parents, not my brother, not even my friends. I kept it quiet because I didn't want the attention, the questions. But now it mattered. I printed my bar admission certificate, framed it, hung it on the wall. Grandpa would have been proud. The night before the hearing, I didn't sleep. I didn't need to. I ran through every argument, every piece of evidence, every question the judge might ask. I packed my briefcase. 3 folders tabbed, organized. When the alarm went off at 5, I was already dressed. I looked at myself in the mirror, and I drove to the courthouse. The courtroom door felt heavier than it should have. Pushed it open. Mom, Dad, my brother, Richard, all of them in the front row. Mom saw me, leaned over, whispered something. Dad rolled his eyes. My brother smirked. I set my briefcase down, took out the 3 folders. The bailiff stood. All rise. The judge entered. An older woman. Sharp eyes. She sat, reviewed her notes. This is a petition for conservatorship filed by Linda and Robert. The respondent is their daughter. I see we also have a counterpetition filed by. She paused, looked up at me. Miss, are you represented by counsel, or are you appearing on your own behalf? I stood. Your Honor, I'm counsel of record. I was admitted to the bar in January of this year. The courtroom went silent. Richard's face drained of color. My mother's mouth opened. My brother stopped smirking. The judge nodded. Proceed. I opened the first folder. Your Honor, I'd like to present 3 exhibits. First, Section 7, subsection D of the trust, the forfeiture clause. I handed a copy to the clerk, who passed it to the judge. This clause clearly states that any beneficiary who initiates legal action to deprive another beneficiary forfeits their entire share. The judge read it, looked at Richard. Counselor, were you aware of this provision? Richard stammered. Your Honor, we were focused on our client's legitimate concerns about. Were you aware? We were recently made aware. Yes. I opened the second folder. Second exhibit. The trust amendment submitted by the petitioners, claiming my grandfather wanted unified asset management. I placed it on the overhead projector. Third exhibit. A notary affidavit and forensic document analysis. I laid them side by side. The amendment is a forgery. Different notary, trace signature, paper manufactured 3 years after the alleged signing date. The judge leaned forward. I handed her the forensic report. She read it slowly. Then she looked at my parents. Do you have an explanation for this? Silence. Richard stood. Your Honor, we'd like to request a continuance to. Denied. Do your clients have an explanation? More silence. The judge set the report down. I'm dismissing the petition with prejudice. The forfeiture clause is enforceable and will be enforced. The petitioners will forfeit their shares under Section 7, subsection D. I am also imposing sanctions in the amount of $15,000 for filing a fraudulent document. This case will be referred to the district attorney for review. The gavel came down. I packed my briefcase. I didn't look back. The forfeiture clause was enforced 30 days later. My parents lost the investment accounts. My brother lost the house. The assets were redistributed according to the secondary beneficiary clause Grandpa had written. A scholarship fund for first-generation college students in our county. Grandpa had planned for this. Even if they contested, even if they fought, the money would still do good. My brother filed for bankruptcy 2 months later. He's working retail now, managing a store in the next town over. My parents sold their house before the bank could take it. Moved into a 2-bedroom apartment. The district attorney reviewed the case. Declined to file charges. My parents agreed to repay court costs, and Richard's firm quietly let them go as clients. No criminal record, just consequences. I took $400,000 from my share and established a scholarship in Grandpa's name. The first ceremony was last spring. 5 students, all of them working nights just like I did. I used the rest to pay off my loans, bought a small condo, started a solo practice helping families navigate estate disputes. I set boundaries with my family. Low contact, supervised only. No holidays, no spontaneous visits. Mom sent an email 6 months later. I'm sorry things got so complicated. I hope you're doing well. No accountability. No real apology. I wrote back. Thank you. I wish you the best. That was it. Dad hasn't spoken to me. I don't think he ever will. And I've made peace with that. Some people never admit they're wrong. That's their burden to carry. Not mine. My brother reached out once, asked if we could get coffee. I said no. Maybe one day, but not now. Not until I'm ready. I see Grandpa's picture on my desk every morning. The one from that Christmas, the same one my brother posted. But when I look at it now, I don't see the fight. I don't see the courtroom. I see the man who believed in me when no one else did. The man who taught me that love without respect is just control wearing a mask. I kept the receipts just like he taught me. And I won. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I wanted my life back. So here's my question for you. What would you have done? Forgiven completely and let it go? Or kept the boundaries like I did? Drop your answer in the comments. I read them all. If this story made you think, hit subscribe. There are more stories like this coming. And remember, always keep receipts. One last thing. This is a fictionalized dramatization based on real experiences. It's not legal or financial advice. If you're dealing with something similar, talk to a licensed professional in your area. Thanks for watching.